Alright, I suppose we should get to the hot piece of news before everybody figures it out on their own and we miss the bus. There's a big change in the patch where projectile spells now don't all target the same thing. They target randomly assigned units in a cluster. So that would mean that when you cast things with multiple missiles, like Gaze of Mork here, or the Skaven Warp Star spell, they both had a similar result, so I'm just going to show one, but they both do like the same thing. Anyway, if you cast a spell like that, it should do more damage to multi-entity models than it used to, because it won't all overkill this single greatsword in the very front, like that guy. It'll hit multiple people, as we're about to see coming in here. So this is going to spread out between the 4 cannon models. It looks like maybe 4 crash into one, 4 crash into the other one. This one spreads out across the great swords, doing significantly more damage. And this one spreads throughout the Empire Knights, also doing more damage than it used to, but not nearly as much as that to the great swords. Spells have better penetration on infantry. And the cannons, a little more spread out value. You can see one of the models actually did die. Now, I do have people in my Discord and on my DMs blowing me up saying this is the new meta and this is broken shit and CA has to nerf it. Some of that's probably true. It probably needs to be nerfed a little bit, but honestly, after casting over a year of the meta being healing and then direct damage spells like Spirit Leech and Fate of Yuna, I'm fine with projectiles getting a little bit of love. Sure, they might have to be dialed back eventually, but like, I don't know. It'll be interesting for a bit. Now, I acknowledge I'm saying that, and I'll probably get sick of it, as anybody gets sick of any meta, right? It's just how things go. But for now, I'm pretty excited about it. It'll just be fun to see different stuff. Now, another spell that people are concerned about is the Gaze of Nagash. Gaze of Nagash is one of the stronger spells that existed before the change. So let's see how it does here. Oh, God. Okay, it's similar on the Great Swords. Let's see how it does versus the Cav. About the same. And then versus the artillery. Now, a key thing to note versus the artillery is it destroyed all 4 great cannons on the draw. A little bit more damage to the great swords, a little bit more damage to the Empire Knights, but it killed all 4 cannon models, making it a 14 winds of magic instant deletion for most artillery pieces. That's a little brutal. And finally, we'll check out some Tzeentchian shenanigans, as I'm sure most people want to know what's up with Blue Fire. I do get a little ahead of myself here. I wasn't realizing how fast the discs were, so normally by this time when I got here, I could triple overcast all spells, so that guy's gonna have to wait a second. Decent damage on the Great Swords. Takes out 2 of the 4 cannon models. Less damage on the Great Swords than the Gaze of Nagash. Less damage on the Great Cannons than the Gaze of Nagash. And we wait for that. Still fine-ish on the Empire Knights, so... Overall, I like the new missile behavior. If they do have to tweak some of the numbers, then tweak some of the numbers, but... I don't know. I think it'll make them much more usable across the board. So I'm happy about it. I think it's really cool. Then the last thing to really look at here, this is nothing to do with the projectile spells. It was just a teeny tiny little clip that I didn't know where to put elsewhere. Is the change CA made to routing units? Well, more specifically, things that chase routing units. They chased it so instead of... Apparently it was coded that 35% of a unit that was chasing would engage in the chase, and the others would just follow along. They changed it to 100%, so every single Fleshhound model here is trying to find a Skaven Slave and kill it. Every single Fury is trying to find a Skaven Slave and kill it. And during this test, as I was running it, it looked kind of like the Furies had more issues chasing stuff down. They are still flying units after all, and tend to just kind of hover about rather than truly attacking. The dogs did better at first. Once the Skaven got down to, like, I don't know, 15 models, it slowed down a little bit, and the Furies caught back up. And then they both kind of dwindled out until they killed the last couple Skaven. But overall, they got the Skaven down to scary few models very quickly, so the chase down did feel better. Once again, like most times in the game, slows down the less models there are for the Fleshhounds to chase. You can see they're kind of clustering up more around the same ones. But anyway, I was just trying to say the positive note of chasing stuff down goes a lot faster and is just a lot more responsive. And that's nice. So far, patch, good. Roar. Subscribe, yes.